IVM.
News Kids on the Block. We bring to you stories that top the nation's papers, fresh from the IVM and Ascend International School desk. Hi, I'm Kavya.
I'm Anya.
And I'm Trivik.
And welcome to this episode of News Kids on the Block, where we give you all the top news updates of the week.
Let's kick it off with Anya's COVID update. It looks like Kavya has officially been robbed.
Actually, I come bearing good COVID news, which you guys should do more often, honestly. For starters, Mumbai reported 0 COVID deaths for the first time since March 2020. So that's like amazing. Like just imagine that. No COVID related deaths for one whole day.
That's great news. Thinking back to March 2020, that's like when we went into the original online school thing. A day without a single death, that's insane.
Sorry to be like this thing. I'm really glad that India is making so much progress and that we're seeing like less cases. But I really hope Diwali doesn't change things.
I agree with you, Kavya, but I think you're just salty because I'm doing a better job at this COVID update. So I will move on to some more positive news that has come of the week of 18th October 2021. And I'm recording this on 19th October, which is a Tuesday. So according to the press release for the day, here are some interesting facts / numbers / stats that you can get to know. Starting off with 98.67 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. That's so close to 100 crore, and that is a lot of our population, let's be real. Our recovery rate is currently at 98.14%, which is the highest since March 2020. Our current total recoveries are close to / more than 3 crore right now. And our active cases currently account for less than 1% of the total cases, which is the lowest since March 2020. We also have the lowest caseload in 227 days. We have a weekly positivity rate of 1.36%, and our positivity rate has been less than 3% for the last 116 days. Our daily positive rate has also been less than 3% for the last 50 days and currently stands at 1.11%. So let's keep up the COVID positivity by keeping your COVID test negative, and be sure not to let the holiday spirit dampen your andar ka diya.
It is time for everybody's favorite segment of the week, favorite segment of every episode. Really, it's time for me to talk about football.
I'm really good at talking. I think I should talk about football. What's there to talk about?
I think we should mute Anya, Mr. Host guy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say your name on the podcast or not. Please mute Anya for me. But with that, we will start my story, the UCL prediction. But really, I'm going to talk about the entire week of football to come, because a couple episodes ago, we talked about the 24th of October and the different matches it holds. Well, this Sunday is the 24th of October.
We haven't talked about it. We were just talking about it a few months ago as like a podcast idea.
And then we're here now. So for starting off in the T20 World Cup, India will be facing off Pakistan, which is a monumental match as always, because things just always get a little insane. It is also my mama's birthday. So things will definitely get insane because I'll fight with her and then she'll hate me. It'll be fun.
But let's talk about the other matches, the football, which is what I know all of you care about. All my homies out there listening to me here for the Trivik segment of the podcast. I respect you and I love you all. But let's start off with me. So the Champions League, we'll say two main matches which I've picked out to talk about are Leipzig versus PSG in the group of death, and Liverpool versus Atletico de Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium in Spain. So let's start off with talking about the Leipzig PSG game. So I think the main talking point about any game which he plays in really is Messi. And Messi, the topic about today is that Messi has not been performing for PSG. At Barca, he was hitting these insane numbers, putting up in like world-class performance after performance after performance, and he was just never letting his standards drop. And at PSG, things haven't really clicked for him so far. Only that one goal which came against City a couple of games ago. But I think we really need to see Messi shine here. And I personally still believe that Messi is the best player of all time. I think that he will hit the levels he did hit at when he used to play for Barcelona. I just think that it took him a while to settle in because he only ever played in one league, but I think he will kill it. And I think this match against Leipzig is going to be the starting point. I'm predicting a Messi masterclass and a 3-0 PSG win. Kavya's favorite team in the world, dominating.
Kavya, what's a PSG?
That's one for the OGs on the channel.
No, Kavya, man, you should be coming up with weird things to say, like piglet, snout, gremlin, or something like that. Like something really dumb.
Anya's talking again, so I don't know what's happening. But the next game for this Champions League fixtures that I've picked out, it is Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid. I'll give you the lowdown. This game has caused me a lot of pain over the past few years because of the last time we played them, where I was really shocked. That's the word I've been told to use, after we lost 3-2 in extra time. It was a really disappointing game because over the first 90 minutes, it was really a perfect performance and we were let down by our goalkeeper. I think now we've got Kelleher as a number two, one of the most reliable number twos in the league. So I don't think that we'll be seeing any goalkeeper errors like that again. I think it should hopefully be an exciting game. I think we can come away with the win, and I think we've got the determination and the motivation to win this game, considering how things went the last time around. I'm going to predict a 2-1 win to us, but I genuinely do think it could also be a draw, considering the way Atletico are playing at the moment. And, they won the La Liga last year, so they're clearly a really good team. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to us, though, so fingers crossed that it is. And now let's move on to the last game, which I'm going to be talking about for today. It is the El Clasico, and it doesn't have the appeal it quite used to, when Messi and Ronaldo played on each team. But it is still one of the biggest derbies in the world, and players there are hitting form. I think Barca they beat Valencia 3-1, and Real Madrid have been stunning this season, scoring so many goals. Ancelotti ball is in full force. But I'm going to predict a Barca win. It might be a shock Barca win considering the way they played. They've been playing recently, bar that win against Valencia. They lost 3-0 to Benfica. They lost 3-0 to Bayern. But I'm going to predict a Barca win because I think on the day of a derby this big, form flies out of the window and it comes down to who wants it more. And I think Barca do want this game more, want to win this game more. So I'm going to predict a 2-1 Barca win.
Thanks, Trivik. With that, we shall take a short break and we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere.
It's quite mind-boggling to learn how many things around us are actually possible because of AI. Our phones, computers, even our Xboxes and PS4s all use some form of AI to make our experiences better.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated by AI and how it works.
Well, lucky for you then, Intel's Digital Readiness Program is here to empower everyone with skill sets, mindsets, and tool sets to use in an AI-fueled world. So you can be ready to develop AI for anything you want. Yes, even for football, Trivik.
The Intel AI for Youth program is an initiative that guides today's youth to an understanding of how AI is designed and why it's important.
Intel's been working with the CBSE, Ministry of Education, and the Government of India to empower today's youth to build social impact solutions while demystifying what AI is.
How do you take advantage of this? Purchase an Intel Core-powered PC and you have free access to 80 plus hours of immersive and hands-on training about AI. On completion of the program, along with a certificate, you get access to AI toolsets to try to put what you learned to good use.
Wow. So don't wait. Log on to futurebanowwonderful.intel.com. Future Banaw Wonderful by bringing home an Intel-powered PC.
Welcome back. You're listening to News Kids on the Block, where we give you all the top news updates of the week. I'm your least annoying host, Kavya. And 2 years ago, you guys have probably heard about the chaos that took over Kerala with the floods, and everyone was stuck at home and you couldn't go out at all because of the rain. Well, we thought that was behind us, but once again this year, the rain fury, as it has been described, has returned to flood several parts of central and southern Kerala districts. This has caused landslides, it's caused floods. I've watched videos of houses being swept away, of trees falling down, of schools and hospitals and buildings being pulled into the flood and carried away, which is so sad. At least 27 people have died and hundreds have been carried away from their homes and are unable to return to their homes because they don't exist anymore or they are stuck, etc. The Indian Meteorological Department has warned of more rains this week. But the reason behind this is that on October 14th, a low pressure system developed in the East Central Arabian Sea and it moved really close to the Kerala coast. And ever since then, Kerala has been receiving extremely heavy rainfall, ranging from 115.5 millimeters to 204.4 millimeters in 24 hours. So there's a lot of rain. So whoever is listening to us from there, which I doubt that many are, but I hope you're okay. And Kerala has already received 84% of its share of what should have been the monsoon, which is really scary.
Yeah, Kavya, it turns out that the rains have not only been haunting South India. In Uttarakhand, there are also horrid floods right now, and the casualties are tremendous just based off of it's 9:45 right now. And an hour ago, the death toll in Uttarakhand rise to 34. It's about 9:45 right now, and just about an hour ago, the death toll was at 34. The maximum casualties coming from the Nainital district. The Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal urged AAP workers to help out. There's just incessant rain, honestly. That's the gist of it. And you can watch, ANI tweeted a video of a railway line that connected Katgodam and Delhi near the Gaula River in Uttarakhand's Haldwani, and it was damaged because of the rainfall. And that just shows how horrible it was. Another significant update on this story is that about 80 to 100 people went to Uttarakhand for the Char Dham Yatra, out of which 6 people were stranded in Badrinath and Kedarnath because of the rainfall. The Gujarat CM and the Uttarakhand CM are in conversation, and they're trying to work together to get their respective state citizens, if you will, rescued and gotten out of there. Times of India also reported on how via ANI again, where bodies of 5 laborers were recovered from under the debris after a wall collapsed near a college. And they're trying to rescue some more laborers. So scenes aren't looking good. So when you have a chance, make sure you update yourself on the situation and hope that there's a chance for it all to get better.
And with that, we will take a very short break. I hope you enjoy the promos, and we'll be back with you in a minute.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcasting Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by the actress Neena Gupta, who talks about her distinguished career and her new book, Sach Kahun To, an autobiography. On the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, Varun, DJ and Ashwin discuss the last week of the IPL 2021 and Dhoni finishing it off in style as CSK enters the finals. On Simplified, the gang debate the Great Resignation, a global phenomena causing a major spike in employees quitting en masse. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Rohan Paranjpe, head of alternative investments at Waterfield Advisors. They discuss investing and the outlook on startup culture in India. And on The Habit Coach, Ashton explains how we should slow down and smell the roses with the help of the Goan concept of Sousse Garde. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. We appreciate the word of mouth. And finally, we'd like to thank the sponsors on our network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda Quarter, CoinSwitch Kuber, Slay Coffee, Intel, and Kotak Mahindra Bank. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Welcome back to News Kids on the Block. I'm your co-host, Anya, and we will pass it on to Kavya for the next story of the day. I believe it has something to do with Spain without the S.
Yes, Anya, indeed, the story is about pain, but it's more about destigmatizing the idea of being sad and letting your feelings out and making it normal. So in Spain, there is something known as the crying room. It is a project in which anyone can drop into the room at any time and write a note or just look around and basically be a part of a project that is trying to destigmatize the idea of crying. And because a lot of times people say that crying shows you're weak and that you shouldn't cry and let out your emotions. But I think this is just trying to destigmatize the fact and really normalize the fact that it's okay to cry.
Yes, Kavya, we stand crying.
A week ago, the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced a €100 million mental health care drive, including many services like a 24-hour suicide helpline. And he said that it is not, I quote him, "It is not a taboo. It is a public health problem that we must talk about, make visible, and act accordingly." This is actually a really good way, I think, of bringing people together to destigmatize a topic that has been looked at as making people weak and really making it okay to do that.
So, with no further ado, let's move on to our last story for the day. And it is about tackling gender stereotypes, which is what all companies as big as Lego should be doing, because they're the ones who can really make a difference in this world. So, let me explain what has happened. So, Lego have ran a series of surveys to determine whether there is any sort of forms of gender bias in their products. And what they've done is that while 71% or while more girls are okay playing with all types of Lego, some boys feel that if they do try to play with some certain Legos or certain different toys, they feel that it would be labeled as girly, or as, they feel like it's not okay for them to play with it. And Lego is going to be working towards eliminating these ideas from their toys and making everything more gender neutral. And I think that's exactly what I think that's a great initiative from Lego, because all companies of that size should be working to combat problems like this in the world, because they're the ones in the positions of power and they're the ones who can really make a difference. I know any one of us we can choose to stand up against gender stereotypes, but when a company at the size of Lego does it, that's when, the differences can really be made. So Anya, could you tell us what you think?
Yeah, Trivik, I agree with you completely. Not only is it the fact that they wield so much power, but the fact that kids play with Lego, it influences how they sort of view women or men or anybody else for that matter in a certain position. And I think it's a great story that you've decided to talk about today, because it's tackling situations that occur, at later points in students' lives at a very early stage of childhood. I also think it's great that they're looking at expanding beyond just cisgender heteronormative situations. So, yay, Lego.
I think we can all be really proud that Lego are taking initiative here, but I think that other companies need to follow in their footsteps, because there is no way that we are going to be able to combat this as a whole unless everyone steps forward and tries to make a stand. So I think that Lego are doing a great thing, and I hope people can follow in their lead.
Anyways, that's all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of News Kids on the Block. Don't forget to tune in to us every Friday for our fresh take on the news from across the globe.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other podcasts on the IVM network.
You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
We'll see you next week. But till then, do share this episode with your folks. Stay safe. And don't forget to do your homework.
Habits? Routines? How exactly do they help us get better? Well, to simplify it for you, tune in to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashton Doctor, and I'm going to be here to help you get better daily with some simple, easy to do habits that you can easily adapt to your life. So tune in to the Habit Coach podcast from Monday to Friday, because I believe that awesome lives start with awesome habits.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.